Good morning, everyone. Good morning and a happy Australia Day. On behalf of the Naracoorte Lucindale Council and Link, I warmly welcome you all here, and it really is just a little warm. I would like to just say a warm welcome to our special guests today. Firstly, our guest speaker, Charles Bryce, and our Australia Day award winners and their representatives. So Patrick Ross's family, Meg and Alex, Hayley Brewster Strickland, and representatives of the Blackford Avenue Range Lucindale Fire Recovery Fundraiser. Can you please all be upstanding for the national anthem and then the acknowledgement of country? Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains and let us sing, advance Australia fair. Beneath our radiant southern cross, we'll toil with hearts and hands to make this commonwealth of ours renowned of all the lands. For those who've come across the sea with boundless plains to share, with courage let us all combine to advance Australia fair. In joyful strains and let us sing, advance Australia fair. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Mintank people, and pay our respects to the elders of past, present and future, for they hold the memories, the traditions, the cultures and the hopes of Aboriginal people in Australia. We must always remember that under the concrete and asphalt, this land is, was and always will be Aboriginal traditional lands. Please be seated. I'd like to begin today by thanking you all for joining us for this special Australia Day celebration. We have worked to make sure that we've been able to hold the celebration here and at Naracoorte, and have made various plans and changes to accommodate all the different things that have come at us. So it's not only the pandemic but also the weather, and I know that we're in here because we thought it was going to rain, which it looks like it's looming. So in anticipation, we hope it will rain. Today we come together to reflect, respect and celebrate Australia Day 2022. We reflect on the resilience and the diversity of our communities and the spirit of helping and giving that defines us as Australians. We continue to respect the selfless sacrifice of thousands of first responders and frontline workers in these complicated times, who put the safety and well-being of others before their own, and nowhere else except Lucindale, I think, has really been brought to our attention that we have so many selfless people who put themselves out there for everyone else's benefit. with bushfires in the last 3 years in our surrounding areas. So my deep gratitude to every single person who has put in to keep our community safe. Our community is resilient, we know that, and rest assured that we are all here to support our community in difficult times. And we try to do that with all the energy and the resources that we can reasonably muster. We've received apologies today from our federal member for Barker, Mr Tony Passon, and our member for McKillop, Mr Nick McBride, who both have passed on their best wishes for a successful event. Mr Passon also forwarded this message to be read on his behalf. Thank you for your generous invitation to celebrate Australia Day at the Naracoorte and Lucindale celebrations. Unfortunately, I am unable to join you as I have accepted invitations elsewhere in the electorate today. On January the 26th, Australians around the nation and those living around the world reflect on what it means to be an Australian. For me, Australia Day is a reminder of the tremendous freedoms we enjoy and of how lucky we are to live in the greatest country in the world. Every Australian, from our first Australians to our newest sworn-in citizens, and everyone in between, I am sure is proud to be part of our shared national story. This Australia Day, I encourage everyone to reflect on what it is to be Australian, to work hard, to contribute to community, to have a sense of mateship, of belonging and of prosperity. Let's remember that irrespective of our places of birth, we are united in a common Australian values. While the recent pandemic has been a challenging time for many, in true Aussie spirit, we are pulling together in the face of adversity. Indeed, it is in these tough times that the values that make our nation shine through. This truly is a nation of freedom and opportunity, even in tough times. As Australians, we strive to better ourselves while at the same time supporting others. For all those who have volunteered in support of or donated to those in need this summer, thank you. You are what makes this nation great. I would also like to formally thank those volunteers who have so generously contributed their time to help make this day such a success. This Australia Day, be proud, be thankful, and most importantly, have a great day celebrating what it means to be Australian. Happy Australia Day, yours sincerely, Tony Passon MP. I'm now delighted to introduce our guest speaker for this year, Charles Bryce. It's my pleasure to welcome you here, Charles, and he has returned to his hometown area to deliver our Australia Day address. Charles is a journalist and the South Australian reporter for the ABC's News Breakfast. Away from work, Charles competes in hand cycling at a national level. He's a two-time national champion and is aiming for the 2024 Paralympics. He's passionate about helping to find a cure for spinal cord injuries and has raised more than $300,000 for research by riding long distances in his hand cycle. Please put your hands together and welcome our guest speaker, Charles Bryce.
Thanks, Erica. When you think about 30 minutes in the day, I think we can all agree that it's a pretty short period of time. It's how long it takes to get from here to Naracoorte. It's about a quarter of a game of football. But I want you all to imagine this. You're out in the country, you're by yourself, and somewhere where you've never been before. The only sound in the air is the wind rustling through the trees. You're 5 kilometres away from your new home near Loxton. You're 300 kilometres away from your friends and family in Adelaide. And there you are, laying face up in the dirt, fighting for every breath of air. There is a phone in your pocket to call for help, yet you cannot move a muscle. And suddenly, that 30 minutes feels like a lifetime. That's what happened to me 11 years ago. I was just 19 years old when I fell off a motorbike and broke my neck. That injury has left me quadriplegic with no feeling or movement from my armpits down. I had a very fortunate upbringing in Naracoorte. And for the first 19 years of my life, I was just like most of you here today. I loved sport, I loved adventuring, I had my life and career as a pilot mapped out from a young age. I'd ride my motorbike on weekends and after school. I played footy for Kaiby and defeated Lucindale in a number of premierships. I played cricket, I raced go-karts just down the road, and I would fly aeroplanes. But I was also able to get out of bed when I wanted. I could drive down to the shops late at night to get an ice cream, and I could jump into the pool on a hot summer's day. All of those simple things that no doubt I took for granted were instantly taken away from me when I fell off that motorbike. I spent the next 18 months in hospital and rehab. I laid unconscious for the first 3 weeks, relying on a tube down my throat to breathe for me. I had to learn life's bare basics all over again. I had to learn how to feed myself, I had to learn how to drink again, and I had to build up the strength to be able to breathe on my own again. I guess during that period of time, there were certainly times where I had a bad outlook on life. My life had been turned completely upside down, and it was something that I obviously had never gone through before. I'd never learnt about at school, and I'd certainly never seen it in the community. But there I was, a 19, 20-year-old, sitting in an electric chair, unable to do the life's simplest tasks. And I guess it was compounded by the thought of, well, the vision of my young niece, 2 years old, being able to do those simple tasks, yet I was 17, 18 years older than her. And I guess part of me felt as if it was a bit degrading. In rehab, I was once asked if I thought I was lucky, and I stopped and paused to think about it, but that was all a show because deep down I knew, well, I thought that I wasn't lucky. It was an easy answer. But then I was told just how lucky I was. I was thinking to myself at the time, was I lucky enough to have someone dress me every day? Or was I lucky enough to have excruciating pain from the slightest movements? My life was put into perspective though, when I was reminded just how lucky I am. I was lucky to have loving friends and family. I was lucky enough to be supported financially and that I would have a roof over my head. And also the biggest one was that I would be loved unconditionally. That conversation, along with many other factors in that past 11 years, have improved my life, and I now take nothing for granted. Leading up to today and being here in Lucindale, I thought about what it meant to be Australian, and the recurring thing to me was just how lucky I am. I guess the reason why I'm so lucky and why I consider everyone in this room lucky is because we do live here in Australia. And it's no secret that Naracoorte and Lucindale and the whole southeast is God's country. I think we're lucky because everyone here is given the opportunity in life, no matter the race, the religion or the ability. I've been lucky enough to have many opportunities in my 31 years, and particularly in the last 11. I've now got a full-time job in which I know that in other countries, people in my situation wouldn't be so fortunate to have. We're also lucky because we're free to choose a path in life that we want to without any dictatorships. We're all afforded a free education, a healthcare system which is first class, where you will not be charged hundreds of thousands of dollars for treatment on a broken neck. One of the other things that came to mind about thinking about what it means to be Australian is the mateship. I think it's really ingrained in us as a culture in Australia, as a town, as a community, and as individual people. And I think we rely so much on it on a day-to-day basis, sometimes without even thinking. During my time in hospital, I relied on mateship endlessly. There were times where people would be visiting me in my room, and without a 5-minute break after they left, there would be more people in. And I think for me that was the biggest thing that allowed me to have bad moments rather than bad days. But having lived in Naracoorte and spending quite a bit of time in Lucindale as well, I know that the mateship ties are quite strong as well, and the community has mateship in spades. I guess I saw that firsthand just last October when I, along with 20 other people, rode from 300 kilometres starting and finishing Naracoorte and coming through Lucindale. I saw it firsthand because James McKay joined us on that trip. He was, I know a lot of people were happy enough to empty their pockets and donate to the cause. James also opened up the pub, allowed us to have a few beers on that first stop when we were all wet as a shag on that rainy day. I think from my perspective as being in the news as well, I've seen just how devastating the fires have been down here as well. Not just in the past week, but in the past years as well. And I think the reason that so many people have been able to move on with their life is because of that mateship. So thank you on a personal level. Thank you to everyone that has contributed to the fires and to also Will to Walk. It's very much appreciated, and I know that it couldn't have been as successful without the Lucindale community. So thank you very much, and congratulations to all the award winners today.
Thank you, Charles, for that heartfelt and thought-provoking speech. We sincerely appreciate you taking your time to come and share your journey with us on this special day, and wish you every happiness and success for the future, and we'll look out for you in 2024 at the Paralympics, so well done. Put your hands together again for our guest speaker. Thank you. It's now my great pleasure that I present the awards to the recipients of the 2022 Lucindale Australia Day Awards. Lucindale's Citizen of the Year Award, Junior Citizen of the Year Award and Community Event of the Year Award are proudly presented by the Australia Day Council of South Australia and are administered by the Naracoorte Lucindale Council. The awards reward and recognise individuals and organisations that have made a noteworthy contribution during the current year and/or given outstanding service over many years that is over and above normal employment duties. And it's with great pleasure that I now acknowledge the recipient of the Lucindale Australia Day Citizen of the Year Award to Patrick Ross. Unfortunately, Patrick can't be here with us today, but his contribution to Lucindale community speaks for itself. And his son Alex and daughter Meg will receive his award on his behalf in a moment. But I'd just like to share with you some of the things that Patrick has contributed to the community with. Patrick is well regarded as an active and passionate member of the Lucindale community who contributes significant time and energy to the local projects and ideas, particularly through his role as the Lucindale CFS Group Officer. On the 11th of January 2021, the Blackford Avenue Range Lucindale fire burnt 14,000 hectares of land, including the township of Avenue Range, and threatened the township of Lucindale. As the Lucindale CFS Group Officer, Patrick was responsible for coordinating the firefighting efforts and protecting life and property. His firefighting experience and knowledge of the local area, as well as his leadership skills and the trust that his crews have in his decisions, contributed greatly to the outcome of that day. Patrick was also instrumental in coordinating the efforts of fire crews on subsequent days to ensure that hotspots were monitored, containment lines were strengthened, and resources were put where they were required. In the following days of the fire, Patrick made sure he personally contacted and spoke to each CFS volunteer member of the Lucindale CFS group. He showed care and concern for each individual's mental health, physical well-being, and that of their families. His efforts showed dedication and commitment to his community and care and compassion for individuals. And I must say that the recent fire, only a week or so ago, Patrick was there again doing all of those things. So congratulations, Patrick, and can I ask daughter Meg and son Alex to come on his behalf to accept the award.
Thank you, Erica. Both Alec and myself are very proud to accept this award on Dad's behalf. First and foremost, I would like to express how surprised and humbled Patrick, our dad, was when Erica informed him he would be the recipient of this year's Lucindale Australia Day Award for his role in the CFS as a volunteer and his contribution during the past few devastating fire seasons. Dad has donated a large part of his life to community causes he believes are worthy, including some 40 years to the CFS. In the lead up to this year's Australia Day ceremony, I asked Dad what it meant to be a volunteer, and he responded with, "I've been volunteering in various capacities from the young age of 14, and he recalls that volunteering and community engagement was a way of life. He explained that both his father and grandfather were involved in their local district council in the Barossa Valley and spent many years as group captains for their local CFS. Dad moved to the southeast at the age of 21 to a family property at Wollumble. When he arrived in the southeast, he was one of few landholders with a four-wheel drive, and so he became involved in the CFS as he was tasked to identify access routes to firegrounds and provide sit reps back to headquarters. Dad speaks fondly of his early memories in Wollumble, when both farming and firefighting equipment were not as we know it. Dad has continued in many volunteering roles throughout our life, and he has instilled in his family the importance of sticking together and supporting one another when you can, by offering your skill set in service to our community. Dad loves to be involved, and he is passionate about demonstrating his fondness to this community through ongoing involvement as a community volunteer.
Thanks, Meg. I can certainly agree and also reflect on many of these memories growing up with Dad, whether that be in the CFS or any of the other groups that he has been or still is involved in. That'd be another fire. He has given much of his time for that, and as a family we're all very proud. I'd like again to reiterate the significance of our Dad receiving this award. He, like most volunteers, does not do what they do for their recognition, because it is in their nature to help others, to give. This is how Dad feels about this, and so to be recognised and then nominated for this award by his own community, he is very humbled. Although he isn't here at this very moment and is possibly enjoying a well-deserved holiday, I'll do my best to convey some of his words and thoughts, so that's all from me. I like to help people in any way I can. I give freely of my time, on occasion, possibly too freely, but that is in my nature. It's been a tough couple of years for our community, and the burden of responsibility I take very seriously, most of all when it comes to those who are a part of the frontline firefighting team. When asked time and time again to step up, they do so.
Young people to Lucindale Scouts last year, as well as new leaders. Hayley stepped up and offered to help out with her scouting experience and knowledge. She not only ran activities, but she also provided guidance and assistance for the new leaders while they are settling into their roles. Hayley was also one of the Lucindale area school students who were chosen to represent the school on the Lucindale Master Plan Centenary Park Working Group. Together with fellow Lucindale area school student Madeline Redden, the two students took notes at the working group meetings, then took them back to the school and shared them with their fellow students. When contacted with news about her Australia Day award, Hayley said she was simply someone who liked to help out wherever and whenever she could. And that's even including helping out with community catering and babysitting local kindergarten children while their parents attended a school transition meeting. From all of us to you, heartfelt congratulations, Hayley. Well done, Hayley. Yeah. Another round of applause for Hayley, please. Hayley's a little shy and said, I don't want to say anything. That's fine. It's now my great pleasure to present the Lucindale Australia Day Community Event of the Year Award, and this is to the Blackford Avenue Range Lucindale Fire Recovery Fundraiser. As mentioned earlier, the Blackford Avenue Range Lucindale Fire devastated the town of Avenue Range in January last year and caused widespread destruction that impacted over 70 farms and families in the area. Within days, Greg Fisher, Georgie Mackay and Amanda Carter were working together with a group of Lucindale people to coordinate a fundraiser to assist those who had been affected. The fundraiser began on a relatively small scale, but as word got out of the event spread, donations were offered from across the Limestone Coast as well as further afield. Greg, Georgie and Amanda and their team scaled up the event, changed the venues to accommodate a larger crowd. It was originally planned to be held at the hotel, but was moved to the country club to allow more people to attend. And this allowed the people of Lucindale to own the event and its amazing outcome. The fundraiser auctioned more than 100 items and raised over $270,000, which was then distributed among the fire-affected families. It was an amazing effort that demonstrated care and compassion for the community and provided a way for people to come together in a constructive way after a very traumatic event. Congratulations to all that were involved in that fundraiser, and on today of all days, we must be grateful for living in such a wonderful country and district, and I look forward to the future with gratitude and hope. Thank you to all of you, and one of the representatives of that fundraiser can come forward to get their award.
No, it's not on, is it? I'd just like to apologise to Erica, Charles and Meg and Alec for walking out. A couple of times there's a bit going on out Wollumba Way, but there is rain, they tell me, so which is good. So I'm a bit distracted at the minute, sorry. Just on behalf of George and Amanda, I'd just like to thank Link or the community or the council for nominating this event and choosing it as a winner. George and Amanda put a huge amount of time and effort into this. First of all, getting the goods donated, to putting it on paper, getting it in order, getting it to the country club, having the auction, collecting the money and distributing it to the people. So thank you very much, ladies. You did a hell of a job, really massive job, so thank you. As the Callioran Avenue people and now Callendale people know, fires can be, and the aftermath from it can be very physically and draining. So we hope that what we raised just helped out in a little way to replace a few things you all lost. as Eric has said, what started as a very small auction grew rapidly and blew us away a bit. So really want to thank the donators of the items, the winners and runners-up on those items, which paid well and truly over their value. And that made the night. So that's about it from me. Congrats to all other winners too with today's awards. Thank you.
I can nearly read my notes in the dark. We now move to the Australian Citizenship Affirmation Ceremony, which was introduced in 1999 and is becoming an integral part of Australia Day celebrations. The words of the affirmation are based on the pledge, and participation is voluntary and carries no legal status. The participating in the affirmation ceremony is a means of expressing our pride in being Australian and provides an opportunity to affirm our loyalty to Australia and its people. The words can be found on your program, and if you would like to participate, please stand and we'll say together. As an Australian citizen, I affirm my loyalty to Australia and its people, whose democratic beliefs I share, whose rights and liberties I respect, and whose laws I uphold and obey. Please be seated. Thank you. That concludes our ceremony for today. I think the decision to come into the hall was a very good one. Please join me in again congratulating Patrick Ross, Hayley Brewster Strickland and the Blackford Avenue Range Lucindale Fire Recovery Fundraiser as our Australian Day Award winners. And also join with me to thank again our guest speaker, Charles Bryce. Thanks, Charles. And I'd like to wish you all a very happy Australia Day, and please enjoy the rest of your day. And from the beginning of the day to the end, one never knows what might happen. So take care, everyone. Thank you.